What's going on, everyone? Kevin Walsh back here for the New York Sports Machine. Breaking news coming from the New York Knicks today. Derek Fisher fired midway through the season. The Knicks decide to part ways, and I think that this should be a real sign of concern for the New York Knicks fans, and not because losing Derek Fisher is bad. I don't think having Derek Fisher was good in the first place, but Derek Fisher is, in my opinion, and I think there's a lot of people who see it this way, more of a puppet. He's there to do what Phil says. He's there to run Phil's system and to push that upon the players. I don't think we really saw any of Derek Fisher's coaching philosophies implemented in this team. Obviously, when you're the coach, you have to decide substitutions, timeouts, and you have to make those right calls while you're there. But the philosophy of this group, it comes from Phil Jackson, and that just got fired. And I think that's really the bigger story here. Derek Fisher getting fired, I mean, is it that surprising? This was his first job. He's been unsuccessful, quite obviously. So it doesn't surprise me too much that they parted ways, outside of the fact that this is supposed to be Phil's guy. So it's like Phil firing himself. It's very interesting to me, and I think that, again, the breaking news, yes, is that Derek Fisher is gone, but there is so much more attention needs to be paid as to who is going to be the replacement, and rumors are going to start to swirl. We got Kurt Rambis stepping in as the interim head coach, but right off the bat, you hear about Luke Walton. And the Knicks saying that they really would love to have him come in, and that's the rumors, that's who they could be pursuing. Well, one, get in line. Everyone is going to want Luke Walton after what he did while taking over for Steve Kerr as head coach of the Golden State Warriors. And it's not necessarily a guarantee that Walton is going to want to go to the Knicks when he was in a situation where he's obviously really accustomed to winning. I don't know if he's going to see the Knicks as the opportunity that best suits him. He might want to go somewhere where the pieces are a little more ready and they're not in such of a development stage of things. And also, is Luke Walton going to want to implement the philosophies that he believes and that he's learned from being around the game for so long, and his father, even though I don't understand that he was a Laker, but stuff that he's learned from Steve Kerr, who obviously relations to Phil Jackson, but it's people want to have their say, and I think that's why people want to be the coach. And to me, the biggest news, though, when this story broke, was that Tom Thibodeau apparently has longed for the New York Knicks head coaching position. The quote that I saw was he would crawl to Madison Square Garden in order to get this job. In my eyes, Tom Thibodeau is the second best head coach in basketball, even though he doesn't have a job, right behind Greg Popovich. That is how highly I regard Tom Thibodeau. His ability to have the Chicago Bulls be consistent threats to LeBron James in the Eastern Conference while Derrick Rose was not playing. Jimmy Butler was not what he is at the current moment. There was no Pau Gasol. Carlos Boozer was underachieving. And, the ability that he to get that team to play such good defense, to play such good basketball night in and night out was so impressive to me. And I think that you could not ask for a better head coach for the New York Knicks to toughen up the young players and get them playing defense and playing hard and changing the culture for the New York Knicks. And it's a development process, but if this is a job that he wants, that means that he understands that. And he's not going to day one, be wondering, you know what, I don't know if I have the pieces here. Obviously, you hope that the pieces come, but realistically, you're getting a coach who is one of the best in the league, who can perfectly change a team around, who has taken subpar pieces before and made them extremely successful. The question is, does Phil Jackson like this move? Because odds are that Tom Thibodeau wants to run things the Tom Thibodeau way and not the Phil Jackson way. Truly, and I mean this, if Tom Thibodeau is not the head coach of the New York Knicks by next season, Knicks fans, you need to seriously panic about the fact that Phil Jackson is in charge and really, really start to hope that changes and that Phil Jackson is no longer in charge. Because you look at what he did this offseason, wasn't able to bring in any of the big names. Couldn't even get a sit-down with LaMarcus Aldridge. That's Phil Jackson. He's there for status and what, his legendary status. It doesn't even get a sit-down with LaMarcus Aldridge because he stubbornly tells him that he's going to be playing the 5 when LaMarcus Aldridge is leaving Portland because he's tired of playing the 5. he doesn't get David West, who it would seem like a foregone conclusion that he would be a New York Knick. He instead, for $2 million, goes and plays in San Antonio. Greg Monroe, it seemed obvious. He goes to the Bucks with Jason Kidd. Phil Jackson has not lived up to the billing. And I know everyone then will say, well, what about the Kristaps pick? Phil Jackson spoke very lowly of Kristaps after he picked him, saying that he's not sure when he'll be here. He might start in the D League. He's going to be a bench player, maybe getting 10 minutes a night. That's what Phil Jackson said after he had picked Kristaps Porzingis. So I'm not going to sit here and say that the Kristaps pick was dumb luck, but I'm not giving a world of credit here to Phil Jackson because he came out and said all of these things after he had drafted him. For the Knicks now, no Derek Fisher. Kurt Rambis takes over. The Knicks could maybe fight for an 8th seed, maybe a 7th seed if they really start to make a push here, and if Melo really starts to catch fire, possibly. But this is a team that's in rebuilding mode, and I think that getting Tom Thibodeau is great for every single franchise. There's not a team out there who wouldn't love to have a guy like Tom Thibodeau on their staff, especially when you can put him as the head coach and really start to shape a team that's in rebuild mode. But we'll see what happens. Comment down below. Let me know. Do you think Tom Thibodeau, Luke Walton, Kurt Rambis, was it a good move to get rid of Derek Fisher? Are you happy with Phil Jackson now? Give the grades down below of Phil's job so far in New York. Going to keep you up to date always with the Knicks on New York Sports Machine. Kevin Walsh signing off.